if you can think of an example. Such a leader may need trouble to keep her position, his position. Such a follower in this model is addicted to the story, I can't do this for myself. I don't know how it happened. It was an external force, and you have the power to undo it for me. A variation of this is the Lone Ranger, who arrives only when there's trouble. Does not live with the people. Is always masked. Don't know his true identity. Never see it, only see this role. Speaking the powerful word. Has at his disposal a silver bullet. Nobody else has them. And when the deed is done, so he goes. In fact, he rides off and has this bizarre relationship with his assistant. It's not equal. There's something very wrong with that model. You know, when I became ordained, one of the promises they asked me to make is to live and pray and minister among the people, to be with them. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. The advantages of being a superhero model. I nearly said supermodel. Same thing. The advantages in the allegory, well, to be true, we all are superheroes at some point in our lives. And in that strong model, we get to show and demonstrate values and coping skills and the way to navigate between what is right and wrong without being closed-minded. You see, I'm very sensitive to this right now because my godson came from London to be with me for 2 weeks. Just left. 15 years old. Oh my goodness, do I have respect for parents now? You know, I just bow down to you. I don't know, how do they learn to eat that much? And they never stop anything. But the part that relates this is he thinks I am a superhero. Yeah. And so I had to step into that with great wisdom to realize that he is watching me and learning all the time. I can't tell him I'm not on duty now. That minister thing, it's just my job. It's okay, we won't pray because you're in town. You don't have to go to service because you... Oh, he turned my life upside down. I had to be in integrity. More. Even more. There's no end to this refine. You know, I was complaining to one of my prayer partners about this, and he just said, "You asked for this?" Yeah. See what you see what are you asking for? Because you may get it. Yeah. So that's what I look at. I look at our values now. Prosperity, diversity, love. And I realize now that just naming those, that they are bringing to the surface everything that is unlike them to look at. And it stays in front of us all the time, and I want it to go away. It's not going anywhere. Phew. All right. So we got some time to hear some good news, because these are the models that maybe walked into the room with us, we inherited from our tradition, our family. And so now in our New Thought movements, we are looking at new ways of leading. We're discovering that there are ways of being together that are very empowering. So before I do that, I just want to acknowledge how beautifully you've listened, and that I hope you will look deeply into yourself to see if any of this is alive in you. Because may I remind you again, the first powerful step is to become aware that it's there. And then with tenderness, because sometimes when you see it, you can start to feel anger towards yourself or to the people around you. And you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to change anything. You just look. When you look with gentleness, you see a thing for what it is. Because it must, by itself, change once you have a higher vision. You know, if I set off for work every morning and I walk through a field of grass to get there, many years later, that path is so well trodden, I don't have to think to go that way. I just set out and I walk. My mind can be on other things. Until one day I catch a higher vision and I stop at the beginning of my journey and I look into the grass that is so high and I venture off into another direction. At first I must walk with caution, and it's exciting, and there is the possibility of danger and a fall, but still I go and I make it to work a completely different way, and the journey was wonderful. The next morning I get up, and all that grass from the new path is sprung back up. And all that is clear is the old path. And so to turn again to that new path, it requires a new commitment every morning. I wish it were not so, but it is. So that after time, I make out of the new path a way that is just as solid. And before long, I can become as easily addicted to that path as I was to the other one. When in fact, God has made it so that any direction that I set out on would lead to safety. So, let's have a look. Models for leadership that we might embrace. The first one, and these do not happen in sequence, they are just ideas. And because they are new to our communities, they are still under development. The first one is that of the vision caster. And who is the great vision caster? I have a dream is the clue. So when we lead with that kind of articulation of a vision, we catch people on fire with an image, an idea, a picture that is already in us. I'll give you an example of the difference. If I lead by any of the other forms, then I stand in front of the people and I don't say, I have a dream. I say, I have an idea. I have an idea. Let's have a ministry of prayer, a telephone ministry of prayer. Now, because the people love me, they say, all right, I will help. And so they get together to do the work. But because I've taught them to be sheep, as soon as I give my attention somewhere else, they wander. The project is never done. So I command the rest, come and do it. They say. And the result is revolting. Tried it again. Still no. Here's the difference. If I lead by vision, I say to the people, I have a dream. I have a vision. Imagine with me the possibility that anybody in our county, when in need, when stressed out, when in difficulty, they have the ability to call a number where a person can speak to them in prayer across denominations and bring them a healing word. Now, the resonance with that vision say, pick me. So they bring themselves to the project and there is no control needed. And then my job is to be the second one, the leader, by equipping, the equipper. So then what I do is I am now very interested in what can I give you so that you succeed. Right. So you understand when the job is complete. So you know where the paper clips are. Like your organization. Yeah. I know exactly where I'm supposed to be, what time I'm supposed to be finished. Beautiful. That's called the equipping. Versus, please just do this job. Then they do it to the best of their ability, and you don't like it. Because I didn't spend time. The third one is the leader of leaders. No, because I can only really make a deep, meaningful connection, person to person, with, say, 100 people. We heard that. Well, I do that then. I make sure I know each one of them has a responsibility for another group. So in other words, the leaders of my leaders. And so I connect with them once I've made sure they know what they need to succeed. Now I ask them, how are you? How's your family? Are your children in school? Are they well? Because you know what I found? When I was so busy being the king and the movie star, you were just people in the audience to me. You did tasks. So this person did a great task. I didn't even know if she had a job or if she was I didn't know. And I went, oh my goodness, I have become inhuman. Until I stop now and say, how are you? So my job is to stay in contact, and I have a priority list. These 100 people, their emails are answered first. Their calls always go through. And I make it my business to know their business. Not to interfere, to know what is important to them. Beautiful work. Then we can drop away all those models, superstarness. Now all I'm doing is I'm doing what God created in me, a heart to love the people. Forget the rest. It will lead you one way, down. And then what happens out of that, the last active models of leadership, is the servant leader. Your will be done. You realize in the beginning you had the vision, but you know what? After you spend so much time empowering people and articulating the vision, that out of this beautiful community of empowerment, other visions arise to support.